A lion surrounded by gold film. Trademark. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Fade to a starry black sky. Blue bold text explodes in the distance and rushes toward us. Spaceballs. The view moves through the letter E. Once upon a time warp. Words scroll up from the bottom of the screen, then fade into the distant sky. In a galaxy very, 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 very far away, there lived a ruthless race of beings known as Spaceballs. Chapter 11. The evil leaders of planet Spaceball, having foolishly squandered their precious atmosphere, have devised a secret plan to take away every breath of air, away from their peace-loving neighbor, planet Druidia. Today is Princess Vespa's wedding day. Unbeknownst to the princess, but knownst to us, danger lurks in the stars above. Words continue to fade into the night sky. Words fade in below the crawler. If you can read this, you don't need glasses. The text fades. Against a black star field, the pointed nose of a spaceship glides into view. Its long rectangular body is dark, paneled and industrial. The ship keeps drifting by, its structure built from irregular clusters. It goes on, seemingly endless. Specks of light dot the exterior. Three huge round thrusters burn at the back. A bumper sticker reads, "We brake for nobody." On the bridge. The crew stands at attention. A metal door rises, revealing a short figure in black, his oversized helmet swallowing his shoulders. He marches down the bright two-story bridge, flanked by white-clad crew members in round, gleaming helmets. They shudder as he passes. His helmeted head fills the view in a tight close-up. He flips up his mask. He turns to the crew member. He points the ring at the man's lower half. He lowers his helmet. A green laser strikes the man's groin. The man drops to his knees as the colonel turns away, grimacing. 2 guards drag the man off. They walk to a video panel lined with buttons. He holds out a cup. The crew members cover their crotches. He gestures to Mr. Radar. He scowls toward us. He sips his coffee, then spits it out. Coffee sprays across the screen. Cut to a mountain range dotted with villages and cathedrals. Stylized yellow text, Planet Druidia. A sign reads, First Intergalactic Temple, Reformed, of the Druids. Today, the royal wedding of Princess Vespa to Prince Valium. Tomorrow, bingo. A gold android glides into the room. The princess wears puffy white flowers over her ears like a headset, as her father wears a royal robe. A priest smiles gently as they enter. They stop short. Then move forward again. They stop once more. Sporting a blonde bob and a pink beret, the prince yawns. At the altar. The princess bolts from the church, dragging Dot by her veil. They dive into a small white spaceship and blast off. The prince shouts. Cut to a tan camper-style craft with wings, gliding through the stars. A sign on the door reads, Eagle 5, Captain Lone Star, Hero for Hire. A bumper sticker reads, I heart Uranus. Inside, a large, stocky man with dog-like features dances. His name tag reads Barf. His tail wags through a slit in his jumper as he shovels brown sludge into his mouth from a bucket. On a control panel, a display reads Automatic Pilot. A man in a cowboy hat and leather jacket sleeps slumped over the wheel. He slowly wakes, looking pale and sickly. Barf's ears perk up. Barf sets the bucket down and grabs a box of milk bones. In the front seat, Barf's tail smacks the man's face. They switch on the video cam. A giant oozing pizza creature fills the screen. Vinny tears off a slice of the creature and eats it. In space, the princess's ship slips through an opening in Druidia's air shield. The white ship streaks toward us, then soars away into the distance. Inside the ship, the princess stares into space. She removes bun-shaped headphones. She puts them back on. A field of white orbs fills the screen, one of which is topped with the US Capitol. Words appear, Spaceball City. Inside, the president inhales from a can labeled, Perry Air, canned in Druidia, salt-free air. On a screen, He steps onto a glowing round platform, a matching light beams over his head. A white film envelops him. The president materializes in the control room. His body faces backward. He parts his blazer, revealing his buttocks. Crew members gawk. He scratches himself. He dematerializes, then reappears in his office, back to normal. The door opens into the control room, just off his office. Blonde-haired twins appear. They roll their eyes. Outside, massive Spaceball 1 closes in on the princess's tiny ship. Inside the princess's ship, on the bridge, the crew stands and throws up their hands. In her ship, on Eagle 5, Spaceball 1 reels in the tiny ship. Eagle 5 swoops in. Barf's ears perk up. Barf peers through a scope. A huge jar of red jam crashes into a satellite dish and bursts. Aboard Spaceball 1, a crewman watches static on a monitor. He glances over his shoulders. He taps his helmet. He speaks into a PA mic. The Colonel and Dark Helmet join him. Red jam drizzles down the screen. Dark Helmet tastes the jam. He slams into the camera lens, then falls back. Outside, Eagle 5 hovers over the Princess's ship as Barf climbs down a ladder onto its roof. The moon roof opens. The Princess and Dot climb the ladder as Barf hoists bulky floral luggage. Inside, Barf's tail whacks Lone Star's head. He speaks into an intercom. Barf addresses us. Eagle 5 zips away as Spaceball 1 swallows the Princess's ship. The hatch slowly closes. Inside Spaceball 1, the Princess's ship rises to a main deck as Colonel Sanders and Dark Helmet approach. The ship's license reads Spoiled Rotten 1. Dark Helmet addresses the ship. He opens the door and peers in. He flips open his helmet. The door closes on him. Aboard Eagle 5. The ship's trunk glides open, and 2 rockets slide into position. On the bridge, Eagle 5's rockets fire. The colonel cringes. Three rockets ignite as the ship surges forward. Inside, Dark Helmet grips a rail as gravity yanks him off the floor. Outside the window, white rays burst outward from the center. A green indicator reads light speed, an orange one, ridiculous speed, and a flashing red one, ludicrous speed. The white rays shift into bands of color. In the Eagle 5 cockpit, Barf and Lone Star duck as a plaid pattern whips past. On the bridge, the colonel reaches for a lever labeled Emergency Stop, Never Use. Dark Helmet slams headfirst into a wall. Guards help him up. His glasses are shattered and his helmet is crushed. He collapses. In Eagle 5, The passengers brace as the ship hurtles toward the desert. They skim across the sand, then crash into a dune. They face each other. Barf growls. In the desert, Barf, Lone Star, and Dot lug the princess's oversized luggage while she totes a small bag. Dot shades herself with a white, frilly umbrella. Barf and Lone Star haul a huge chest. Lone Star opens the chest and retrieves a gigantic hairdryer labeled Hot Air. He drops it in the sand. They move on, leaving the hairdryer behind. Inside Spaceball 1, Dark Helmet sips from a cup. A man steps to a nook labeled Mr. Rental, stacked with Mel Brooks VHS tapes. He loads the cassette. An FBI warning appears. Scenes race by as Dark Helmet stares, wide-eyed. Dark Helmet watches intently as the ludicrous speed scene plays. The movie ends. On screen, the current actions mirror them in real time. They look at the camera, then back at the TV, confused. Dark Helmet turns toward us. The desert scene appears on screen. At night in the desert, Barf and Dot sleep by a campfire where a floral handbag burns. A sign on Dot's chest flashes, sleep mode. Nearby, the princess sits on a stoop as Lone Star drapes his jacket over her shoulders. He sits beside her. She sniffs the jacket, then grimaces. He crosses his arms as he shivers. She leans in. Their faces nearly touch. They pull away. She pulls the necklace close and studies the medallion. He leans in, then turns away. They lock eyes. As they lean in to kiss, a light on Dot blinks, virgin alarm. A view of Lone Star and Barf looking skyward dissolves to a bright sun. Daytime, they slog through the desert under a cloudless sky. Dot's limbs stiffen. Later, the princess hangs limp in Lone Star's arms as Barf carries Dot. Barf faints. Lone Star drops the princess, then collapses. Night. Spaceball 1 approaches Druidia. Day. In the desert, 6 small robed figures march in a line. They spot the 4 lying face down and hurry to them. Three scurry to Barf and Dot, while the other 3 rush to Lone Star and the princess. They give them water and oil Dot's joints. Barf wakes, tail wagging. Lone Star and the princess come too. The 4 follow the small figures, joining their line. Dark Helmet scans the desert with binoculars. Elsewhere, the small creatures lead the foursome into a cave. They wave them inside. They proceed cautiously. A giant robed statue with pointed ears and glowing red eyes scowls from a throne. Flames burst from its mouth. A door opens between the statue's legs, and a miniature version waddles out. He holds out a ring with a diamond-studded S. A stone door rises, revealing shelves of colorful packages and novelty items. He kisses the doll. In the Oval Office, the president frolics in bed with the twins. The bedspread reads, Spaceballs the sheet. On a big screen, in the desert, two men drag a gigantic black comb across the sand. He calls to a second team. Two men drag a giant black hairpick. In the cave, Lone Star shows Yogurt his necklace. The ring sparkles as the statue rises. The statue drops onto Barf's foot. Barf limps off, his paw flattened. Night, in the desert. They find the cave door. Inside, Dot slumps. Her chest reads, Sleep Mode. Vespa lies wrapped in fur, surrounded by candles. Dot wakes. Outside. The cave doors part as Vespa eyes her father. His eyes shift as she runs into his arms. The king morphs into Dark Helmet. She faints. A guard grabs Dot. The rest scamper outside as Spaceball 1 zooms away. At Eagle 5. Yogurt and the small figures watch and wave as Eagle 5 departs. The ship climbs into the deep blue night sky. On board Spaceball 1, Dark Helmet plays with figurines. In the president's bathroom, the toilet paper reads, Spaceballs the toilet paper. The president relieves himself. The commander appears on the wall. She glances down, then smirks toward us. On Spaceball 1, he holds up a photo. Cut to black. The lights come back on. They gawk as a nurse in a short skirt and high heels leaves the room. The colonel quivers as the president enters. The door closes. Eagle 5 soars in the star-filled night sky. Inside, they land at the Spaceballs prison complex. Barf leans out the door as two guards rush toward him. The guards pile into Eagle 5. It rocks. Later in the barracks, Barf and Lone Star, now in guard uniforms, brandish weapons. Lone Star presses a button beside a door. It opens. They emerge into a corridor. They sneak past more guards. A sign reads, "Royal prisoners only, maximum security." They peer through peepholes. They spot Vespa. Dot sits slouched beside her. They enter the cell. The door slams on Barf's tail. They sneak down the hallway, Barf dragging Dot by his tail. They round a corner and find two men in underwear. Lone Star fires. The men run off. Four guards charge around a corner and open fire. Red and white sparks fill the corridor. Dot and Vespa duck. Barf throws down his blaster rifle. He removes a metal C-shaped piece with four tubes from the wall and holds it tight against his chest. Red flares shoot through the tubes and ricochet back at the guards, dropping them. Five more attackers rush in from the far end as the foursome runs. They dive through a doorway that closes from top and bottom, just in time. In a control room, six guards surround them as the captain strides in. A disheveled man in Vespa's torn gown stands where she should be. Barf, Dot, Vespa, and Lone Star race toward Eagle 5 as guards pursue. Vespa yanks on the door. Lone Star hands Vespa his blaster. A guard's laser grazes her. With a furious look, Vespa cocks the rifle and attacks. Bodies fly into the air, then slam to the ground. Lifeless bodies litter the area. On Spaceball 1, crew members line the bridge as Dark Helmet and Colonel Sanders stand nearby. The President rushes in. Eagle 5 soars through space. A glowing blue ring encircles Druidia, where two square doors are etched into its side. Spaceball 1 slows as sections of its hull split apart. The ship rises upright. Panels fold outward as large mechanical arms extend. Two cylindrical parts form legs at its base. A head forms at the top, crowned by a maid's headpiece. A huge vacuum extends from its hand. The towering robot hovers over Druidia. Aboard Spaceball 1, Dark Helmet, the Colonel, and the President stand in Area 6. A timpani player appears. Outside, the vacuum switch is flipped on. Dust and soot whirl upward into the hose. The vacuum bag balloons. Trees rip from the ground and shoot into the machine. The king clutches a picture of Vespa. He passes out on Eagle 5. Lone Star slips the ring on his finger and points it at the vacuum's toggle switch. The switch glows orange as it starts to move. It snaps to reverse. Air blasts toward the planet. Snow sweeps back over the mountains. Uprooted trees drop neatly back into place. The king stirs as air flows into the room. He sits up. He beams. Outside, Eagle 5 enters the maid's ear. They race down a tunnel. On radar, the maid's head appears with a white dot marking the ship's path. The cockpit is tinged in red light. Lone Star adjusts the infrared scanner dial. Outside the ship, a red beam circles the ear canal. On radar, white geometric shapes appear inside a red tube. Lone Star leaves the cockpit. He climbs down the ladder and into a round corridor. Round white lights line the walkway. He slinks through a door labeled Emergency Exit. An orange light blinks at the bottom of the door. On the other side, a guard stands by a sign that reads, "No unauthorized or authorized personnel permitted to enter." Lone Star grabs the guard's neck. The guard collapses. He snatches the guard's key and slots it into a card reader. A detector lights up. He places the guard's palm to the scanner. A door slides open. Inside, a red button is labeled Self-Destruct Button. Do not press unless you really mean it. In a nearby bathroom, Lone Star uses the ring to summon a can of Spaceballs the shaving cream from a shelf. A half-shaved guard watches it float away. He sprays it in the guard's face, then applies the Vulcan neck pinch. He steals the guard's key. He swipes the key on a control panel and enters a code. Green laser bars rise, exposing the red button. He zips to the button and winds up to press it. They activate their rings. Lasers extend like lightsabers. Both glance down. Dark Helmet swings his green laser at Lone Star, who blocks it. They clash at close range, swinging in tight, hurried motions. With a wide swing, Dark Helmet slices a cameraman. They cross beams and continue dueling. Teeth gritted, Lone Star drives his beam into Dark Helmet's. The beams twist together. They slam into opposite walls. Lone Star clips Dark Helmet's laser, deactivating it. He swings at Dark Helmet's head, but an invisible force blocks him. Lone Star punches Dark Helmet in the face. Dark Helmet swings frantically at Lone Star, who holds him back with one hand. Dark Helmet slams into a wall. He offers his hand to shake, then yanks the ring away. The ring falls through a grate. Dark Helmet aims his laser at Lone Star, who acrobatically dodges each shot. Lone Star looks up. He conjures a mirror and holds it over his groin. The laser bounces back, blasting Dark Helmet into the red button. Red lights flash as Lone Star sprints for Eagle 5. In Area 6, passengers scramble in all directions. Lone Star ascends the ladder into Eagle 5. The ladder retracts as guards round the corner. They speed down the tunnel. The President and the Colonel scramble for an escape pod. The delivery person escapes. Outside, Pods shoot out of the maid's headpiece. The timpani player escapes. The pod blasts off. A brown bear creeps up the stairs. A bearded woman nears a pod. She knees him in the groin and hops into the pod. A brown bear creeps along the wall and slips into a pod. He plops onto the bear's lap. He bolts out as the bear closes the door and waves from the window. The pod rockets away. The three leaders dash to the center of Area 6. He flips a panel. On Eagle 5. They brace. Eagle 5 soars out of the maid's ear. Mega Maid explodes in a fireball as debris litters the night sky. On board Eagle 5. Vespa leaps into Lone Star's arms. In space, the maid's head and an arm spin past. Eagle 5 flies toward Druidia. They pass through the air shield. In the cockpit, a male news anchor appears on TV. Barf grins. Lone Star shifts his gaze as his eyes well. From above, Druidia appears as a mountainous landscape, with a stately cathedral at its center. Light mist hangs in the air as Eagle 5 lands in front of the church. Vespa enters the church and runs into her father's arms. The king wakes Prince Valium. Lone Star's eyes dart. At night, a huge spaceship shaped like an RV passes. On its roof, a runway reads Space Star 5, with Eagle 5 parked in front of the Galaxy Grill. Inside, on the counter lies Spaceballs the placemat. Lone Star and Barf enter, then sit at the counter. A blonde waitress delivers water. She glances flirtatiously as she strides off. Barf's tail swats the waitress's backside. She scowls and walks off. Across the counter. People nearby laugh. A man appears ill. Shaking, he spits up food. He clutches his stomach. Lying on the counter, a slimy, sharp-toothed creature with glowing red eyes bursts through the man's shirt. He passes out. The creature leaps onto the counter, its long lizard-like tail trailing. It dons a top hat and high kicks across the counter in a spotlight. At the church, the sign now reads, "Today, the royal wedding of Princess Vespa to Prince Valium," and below, "Take two." In the bridal room, Vespa looks confused. On board Eagle 5, Lone Star frowns. He cracks open the cookie as a trail of gold sparks reveals yogurt. In a swirl of gold dust, yogurt fades away. Barf retrieves a small can. And fills the emergency tank. From outside, Eagle 5 makes an abrupt U-turn. Megamate's head and arm drift toward a planet. And crash onto a quiet beach. In the distance, two riders gallop toward Megamate's remains. Megamate's head and arm stand upright on the sand. Two apes on horseback appear. The three leaders rappel down from the nose. The apes nod disapprovingly. In the church. Eyes wide and mouths agape, the congregation looks up. Lone Star strides in wearing a white suit with gold accents. She shoves Prince Valium aside. Barf ducks away. She wraps her arms around his neck in a passionate embrace. The priest grins. The guests stand, smiling as they clap. A close-up of Dot. Barf frowns as he holds back tears. The view fades as the couple kisses. Outside, Just Married is scrawled on the back of Eagle 5, as orange and gold sparkles shoot from its thrusters. Words form from the sparkles. May the Schwartz be with you. Audio description by the ADCC. Written by Jackie Boire. QC'd and voiced by Kyle Warwick-Mathieu. Credits. Directed by Mel Brooks. Written by Mel Brooks and Thomas Meehan and Ronnie Graham. Starring Mel Brooks. John Candy. Rick Moranis. Bill Pullman. Daphne Zuniga. Dick Van Patten. George Weiner. Michael Winslow. And Joan Rivers as the voice of Dot Matrix. Credits appear over black. Produced by Mel Brooks. Co-producer Ezra Swerdlow. Director of Photography Nick McLean. Production designed by Terrence Marsh. Edited by Conrad Buff IV. Music by John Morris. Costumes designed by Donfeld. Casting by Lynn Stellmaster and Associates David Rubin. Casting by Bill Shepard. Co-starring Laureen Yarnell as Dot Matrix. Credits roll. John Hurt, Salvi Scuso, Ronnie Graham, J.M.J. Bullock, Leslie Bevis, Jim Jackman, Michael Niewski, Sandy Helberg, Stephen Tobolowsky, Production Manager Robert Latham Brown. Assistant Director Dan Colesrud. Second Assistant Director Michael Bach. Visual Effects Supervisor Peter Donan. Additional editing by Nicholas C. Smith. Credits continue. Copyright 1987 by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Pictures Incorporated. All rights in this motion picture reserved under international conventions. The events, characters, and firms depicted in this photoplay are fictitious. Any similarity to actual persons, living or dead, or to actual events or firms, is purely coincidental. This motion picture is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries, and its unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability and criminal prosecution. A Brooks Films presentation. Logo, trademark, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, an MGM UA Communications company.